schmeek.
Chronicles of the Sword is a stunningly abhorrent piece of schmedia point-and-click adventure game developed by Synthetic Dimensions and published by Psygnosis in 1996. Not to jump the gun on my thoughts on this game, but I think everyone that is aware of this game's existence puts it into that category without too much of a thought. I'll get into the nuanced reasons later, but for now, if you want to know if this game sucks actual throbbing balls, then the answer is yes. However, it's also a game that fascinates me and has some very interesting, redeemable features that are worth plucking out of the abyss of time, and is certainly worth looking at with a curious lens before tossing the corpse back into the pit. Synthetic Dimensions was a curious, very independent company with a varied list of good and not so good titles under their belt. They developed a game for the metal band Iron Maiden called Ed Hunter, a game I had absolutely no clue existed until diving down the rabbit hole that is researching Chronicles of the Sword. There are so many rabbit holes in Wikipedia that I started to feel like I was actually playing whack-a-mole. The same could probably be said about a lot of these old companies, but it is the absolutely bizarre experience that Chronicles gives me that singles this company out. I just want to know, how did this game come to be? How did these decisions come to fruition, and who are these voice actors?
Here are some horses, sir, for you and Miss Helly. They're the best I have.
You must be tired.
Not so tired.
This egg is addled and rotten. In future when I speak, listen!
I first saw this game in a demo disc for PlayStation Magazine, I think, as it puts its now infamously catchy main theme over our lead character, wandering around an impressive-looking series of stills, which provoked my interest and sense of wonder. This would be the first of many early warning signs for gamers to never trust a demo that doesn't allow you to play the game in any capacity. Thankfully, I never ended up playing the game back then, as reviews bombed this game into oblivion. That said, I was captivated by a long play of this game years ago, watching it dozens of times, and I'm still not exactly sure why. Let's dig in. The story is set in Arthurian legend. You will play the game as Gawain, nephew of the king, just as he is being knighted by Arthur. Simultaneously, our antagonist corners a priest of the castle, performs sexual favors, and flays him alive.
Majesty, I didn't see you enter. I have not seen you here before. Welcome to the house of God. What can I do for you, Majesty? Should I hear your confession?
What can you do for me? I have come here to do something for you. I am here today to give you such a gift. The gift of certainty. You shall know whether or not your God truly exists.
Majesty, I am your humble servant.
Do you swear to uphold the law of God, to be noble and generous in all your deeds, to help the poor, to protect the weak, the aged, and the infirm?
I so swear.
Do you swear never to dishonor the court of Camelot, to protect your fellow knights, and to serve God and your country?
I so swear.
I declare before all gathered here, you are now truly a knight of the Round Table. The priest! The priest is dead! Someone has murdered the priest!
The game skips any conversation past the priest murking. You snap ahead to the main entrance to Camelot, where your first of many plodding tasks is given by Lancelot. He fucks the queen. You need to find Merlin Schwarzenegger, the mightiest of deadlifters. Every single character in this game is rendered like those AI-generated shorts for Harry Potter lifting, even with the most frail characters being swole as hell. The first of many issues of this game presents itself to you, a complete and utter lack of direction. Absolutely no one in this game will tell you where to find Merlin.
Merlin's in his room like everyone else at this time. Look for the older part of the castle.
The biggest clue you're given is that Merlin is old and that he lives where old things are. I assume you're supposed to deduce that there's moss out by this rampart, therefore Merlin must be here. From this part of the tower, Gawain tries to ascend, but this cutscene will play, which on my 8th or 9th viewing caused me to deduce the following plan of action. I have no fucking clue. The stairs are right there, just go up them, just go up them. We assume we need another plan at this point, one that requires moon logic. No. This is not moon logic. This is in another galaxy of what the fuckism. Every adventure game will have those instances of, oh, I should have thought of that, or instances of moon logic of figuring out some obscure puzzle that only the developer thought was clever, or clicking on a goddamn monkey to loosen a nut. It's funny, you see. Monkey wrench. So funny, Sierra. So funny that I lost a day out of my life for a shitty joke, bro. But Monkey Island is a revered series of having lots of fun solutions, and the occasional bullshit ones. Did I mention the monkey? Also with incredible atmosphere, animation, and general fun factor, these will carry these faults on its back. Chronicles of the Sword is asking for a lot out of me right now. I mean, a lot. You'll need to grab this lamp and this candle, lit on the fireplace, to go down to this dark area. Look in the pond and grab this skull that has jewels in it for reasons. Pick up this obvious scoop sitting in the stable next to this ripped-ass kid and scoop out the eyeballs. None of this shit matters at the moment, but it still needs to be done. Coming back to the stairs, you'll need to poke it with the sword. Poke it with the sword. You poke it with the sword. My God. I'm trying to keep things focused on the story, but I cannot hold back just how bad the hotspots are in this game. It's just cruel. Once you finally hit the hotspot, you can ascend the stairs since there's a door here, I think.
It's a door!
Here's a picture that even you can figure out. That's a door? It's a door! Use it!
Here we are introduced to our beefy version of Merlin for this vision of Camelot, Biff McMahon-Large.
A burning lamp.
That's my lamp. Leave it! You dare to venture into my private chambers? Have you come to steal from me? Answer me!
His performance is terribly overacted, but also has an awesome sounding voice that could have carried more weight with a slightly better acting coach. Keep in mind, this is from an opinion of a really bad actor, voice or otherwise. What draws me to this game and made me play all the way through is the remarkably varied and wide berth of voice talent that this game has. So I know all the kids these days are all about the tier lists, so I thought I'd do something fun for the subtext of this review. Using Gawain as our control group, the protagonist has a soothing voice and is an okay actor. For this time and budget, we could have done way worse for this guy.
It's a fine tankard. Do you know the wizard? Fine weaponry. A tankard? I'll take it.
Here, that's mine!
Even has a moment or two of comic relief that actually worked for me. I'm putting Gawain in A tier. He's good. He's not the best, but he carries the story, and he has to narrate literally everything he does, and that's not easy.
I bid you good day, Merlin. My lord Arthur has sent me here. You have a task for me to complete?
Yes, I have a mission for you. You must take this indictment to Morgana. You must touch her with it. It is magical. Do not give it to anyone else. Do not let anyone stop you. If Morgana knows you are coming, she will put obstacles in your way. Take care and good luck. Leave!
Now that we need to get Morgana to touch the scroll, first we need to get past this drunken dick-ass hat.
Morning, sir. Best time of the day. I always come up here first thing to drink in the view from the castle.
That is the culmination of an asshat that is also a dick. A dick-ass hat. The more you know. This guard, he's trying too hard to sound drunk. Gotta learn a method act, buddy. I'm drunk right now. How else could I come up with something so stupid as a tiered list for voice actors? He's also very grating to listen to, and as a character is supremely punchable with the relatability of having at least someone in your workplace this fucking lazy.
Very nice, sir. Very nice.
With all these factors combined, I'm throwing this guy into C tier, only due to the realism of his demeanor. You need to buy out this guard with an ale from the blacksmith. The blacksmith is a running joke on how nothing is ever finished in this entire smithery, an allegory of this game's completely unfinished nature. He lets you dunk this cup into his ale, the only charitable thing you'll get from this guy.
You look like a man with a mission.
The porter needs a drink.
A drink, does he? Typical. Help yourself.
A fine helmet there, blacksmith. Can I have it?
That one? It's not even finished.
This guy is also A tier, as I'm completely sold on his surliness and inability to get anything done. Once you're past the guard, you'll be confronted by the king in an awkward stance. Having just talked to him in the castle a while ago, it's odd that he's here and really wanting the indictment for himself.
Gawain, I value my knights too much to risk them on such a mission. And you so young. Give it to me.
Knowing this to be a trick by Morgana won't matter, as you, for whatever reason, have to give it to him to progress. You'll then have to jot back to the real king and get scolded by Chuck McMahon-Large.
Knight, you have failed me. I knew I should not have trusted you. I said give it to Morgana, and only Morgana. Stupid boy! Retrace your steps and find it.
Gawain, back so soon? Have you given the indictment to Morgana?
But, Arthur, I gave it to you. You told me to leave it with you.
But you were left in no doubt. Morgana! She has tricked you, Gawain! You must try to retrieve the indictment.
So you can finally get to the door to be blocked by Triceratops. The solution, as par for the course, is to buy the unfinished helmet from the blacksmith and use it on the door. Duh. Now we are in Morgana's chambers, and dude, that candle. I know it's just a candle, but maybe I should blur it for YouTube reasons? I mean, they had to know, right? Morgana is happy that you fell for her little trick, just like falling for saying, "What's up, dog?" just to let their feelings feel validated, even if you saw the joke coming from a mile away.
At last, they send me a pretty one for breakfast. All mouth and codpiece as usual.
Look at you.
My lady, the seal. I think it is Merlin's. Perhaps it contains a gift from him.
Why, thank you, pretty boy. I will take it.
After exhausting all of her dialogue, she suddenly goes full dunce and takes the scroll in hand, which, boom, indictment. I checked the playthroughs on the PC version to see if anything is cut out of the PS1, and although these versions look and sound cleaner and lack a loading prompt after every other screen, they are otherwise identical. This is the transition. Good shit, boys.
Morgana, you are charged with the crimes of plotting and conspiring against your king. How do you plead?
My lord, I am innocent of all charges. I demand to know who spreads these malicious rumors against me. I am a queen, your sister. It is my right.
This is not a debating society. For once, you will answer for your crimes.
My lord, you are a great and wise ruler. The whole country knows this to be true. My presence here in Camelot can be of benefit to you. I have made errors in the past, and I ask your forgiveness of them. I wish only to serve.
Silence, Morgana! These are serious charges. For the crime of treason, you shall be banished from Camelot.
And, my dear brother, since when has adultery ceased being a crime?
What? What are you saying?
My lord, the issue at hand is Morgana's guilt or innocence. She seeks only to deflect the charges against her and sow suspicion and discord.
And how are you, you old goat? Still performing tricks for children? Ah, the valiant new knight.
Morgana, I warn you for the last time. Hold your tongue!
I am a queen. You will address me as one.
Silence! You are henceforth banished from this kingdom! Guards!
Firstly, there was the age of gold, then of silver and bronze, then the age of heroes, then of iron. Now we enter the age of famine, plague, and pestilence. Look for me in your dreams. I will kill you all!
Guards! Take her into custody!
This is what I mean about a wide array. This woman is fan-fucking-tastic as Morgana. She steals the show. Who the fuck is she? What other work has she done? What was the look on the sound mixer's face when she delivered this line?
I am a queen! You will address me as one!
I'm scared of this woman. Slam dunk, S tier 100%. Is there something above S tier? I'm putting it there. I know I am simping so hard for this performance, but the simple fact of the matter is that this woman had or has aspirations beyond what was called for that day, and does not throw away performances. You'll hear some examples later on of what I just meant.
Messenger to court. Speak your name, girl.
My name is Helly. I bear a gift from Morgana.
Beautiful workmanship. Try it on for me, Helly. The colours will suit your fair skin better than mine.
But sir, I cannot. I am a simple servant girl. I am not worthy of something so regal. It is a gift to you.
Do as the king commands, and be quick about it.
Morgana! This time you have gone too far. You will suffer!
And we smash cut to Arthur looking for advice from Peck Bench Press. You'll need to trigger enough conversations so this guard disappears from the game entirely. Lance a fuck. He's B tier. Even though he sounds decent enough, he doesn't have anything to work with either.
I need to find Guinevere's well. Can you assist me?
Why do you want to go there? No one goes there. I've never been there. A short distance through the forests, so I'm told.
And the king, who I'm putting into A tier, he has some very stuffy lines in there, but he has a decent vocal range.
The last few days have troubled you greatly, my lord.
I can take no more of Morgana. I want her finished, executed.
Now that the guard has teleported away, you make your way to the Valley of Horrible Ambience.
It is made up entirely of toadstools.
You'll break into Guinevere's well using dragon's blood. Save your game and change the difficulty to easy, trust me. I wanted to man up and ignore the guide that I read to tell me to change it to easy, and I suffered the consequences. A CGI skeleton bursts out of the water to initiate combat. Combat so poorly designed that it is barely describable. It's kind of like Dragon's Lair meets a 3-second animation loop, with zero feedback on what you were doing right or wrong. But it will grant you your very likely first death of the game, which once again defies all logic and expectation.
Blimey, when I thinks back to those days, Gawain was the king's last hope. When Gawain died, there was no hope left for Camelot. Morgana had a free hand, you might say. Such a plague and pestilence visited the land, you couldn't imagine. The king, Arthur, was a broken man, you could say. All his hopes and dreams fell down around his ears, and the people turned against him, starving like they were. The knights of the Round Table all went their separate ways. Some fought as mercenaries in foreign lands, and as for Lancelot, I never saw him again. Some say he had a falling out with the king, 'cause of some woman, but I wouldn't know about that. I always kept my nose to the grindstone. Know what I mean? Morgana's still there at Lioness, up to all kinds of mischief and mayhem. And we'll stay there, I reckon, until some brave knight comes along and kills her and restores peace and prosperity to the kingdom. As for me, old wolf, I left Camelot soon after Gawain was killed. Couldn't bear to see the king all in misery and despair like. Went past Camelot a few weeks ago, on my travels, you might say, and the old place was in rack and ruin. It broke my heart, so it did, seeing the old place like that. Blimey, I fancied I clapped eyes on old Merlin skulking round the place like he used to do in the good old days. I reckon my old eyes were playing tricks on me though, 'cause after Gawain was killed, no one clapped eyes on him again. He just vanished. He ain't dead though, oh no, not old Merlin. I fancy he's just hanging round in some place, keeping an eye on things, waiting for a chance to get back at Morgana, waiting for a good opportunity. Know what I mean?
This is amazing. Not a generic game over, but a sort of eulogy that goes on for quite a while, with an A-tier performance from what I deduce to be the same actor that does the young version of this kid, which slaps him back into B, since C is where that kid would go under normal circumstances. This is such an eye-opening means of death, since lore-wise it almost sets up for a sequel starring Merlin. I would play that game. Anywho, the skeleton flops and you get the water. Day 1 complete.
Gawain, are you rested after yesterday's quest? I now need the second item for the Ring of Protection. You must find me a piece of eggshell. Not a chicken's egg, but the eggshell of that most feared of beasts, the dragon.
Now you need an eggshell from a dragon. How adventurous. I wonder if this dragon is the Triceratops model again, presumably due to budgetary or some kind of fever dream the developers had. I know I fucked up with the Anaballs thing, so my best conclusion is that there is a totally obvious lore to this that I'm not aware of, so have fun making fun of me. Once you moon logic your way to getting the shell, you're tasked with finding the fairy ring, and I debate on whether or not to even include the voice of these fuckers in this video. They are just that hard to listen to.
You summoned us?
Let us strike a bargain. You have my word as a knight of Camelot.
Come, thieving mortal! What can you offer us in return?
C tier. It's as cringe as it gets, but they definitely put a lot of effort into that squealy voice, so I can't fault them that bad. This cup is made out of gold, so once you make the trade, Merlin can be happy for 5 full seconds in this game. Wolf sends us off with bread, as we are to travel with Helly the Handmaiden for yet another inexplicable plot element. The game's pacing is already abrupt, but things get really, really weird here.
Gawain, leave me here and continue alone. I must rest. There seems to be no end to this forest. We haven't seen a living soul for days. Go onward and try to find help. You will not progress far with me. I can only hinder you. Go with courage.
I'll get help.
Once Helly claims to be tired of the days and days of riding, Gawain walks one screen over and up to the wicked woman in the nearby castle for help. The old lady opens the door and you are introduced to the most annoying person in the game. I'm curious whether her or Haley can compete for the worst voice actor in the game.
I will give you anything you desire if you will only help my friend to live.
Do you know, old Merlin? I taught him all he knows about medicines and healing. In fact, he still has my grinding bowl, pure canal granite.
Gawain is tasked with finding medicinal ingredients to help with Heli's injury, since the issue at hand is apparently an injury now, as we forgot our narrative in the last 2 minutes. Firstly, we need to find a pestle and mortar, which he calls a grinding bowl to just about everybody. To find this, we need to retrace our steps back to Castle Camelot, which is literally one screen over. Like I said, the pacing is bizarre here. You also have to swap discs, so at least it feels like a long time to travel back to the castle.
Heli has been mortally wounded. I have found an old woman living in the forest who says she taught you apothecary.
Ha 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 ha! Old Demdike. Oh, I remember. A fine healer and much misunderstood soul. So, she still lives at the Hermitage.
My lady, did you ever possess a bowl for grinding spices or herbs here?
Why, yes. I borrowed it from Merlin when I first married Arthur. I used it to make perfume oil. I still use it.
Please, can I have the bowl? It may save Heli's life.
Of course. Take it with you if you need it.
My lady, I must go.
Oh well, so soon.
Get your conversations in here while you can, because once this sequence is done, the game will not let you back again. Once you have the grinding bowl, the rest is getting honey and seeds of the poppy for the poultice to apply to Heli's mystery wounds. You'll need to travel to the far one screen over lands of Tintagel, where a friendly monk directs you towards Brother Anthony and his mighty bee collection.
You have an interest in bees?
Gawain is held back by the bees, as they have a means to defend themselves somehow.
I can't live the buttoned-down life like you. I want it all. The terrifying lows, the dizzying highs, the creamy middles. Sure, I might offend the blue noses with my cocky strides and musky odours. Oh, I'll never be the darling of the so-called city fathers, who cluck their tongues, stroke their beards, and talk about what's to be done with this Gawain. Bad bees, bad. Ow, ow, wow. Oh, they're defending themselves somehow.
Once you smoke them, you'll be able to get the honeycomb back to the old woman. Once the ingredients are gathered, you are allowed inside for a single moment. There's literally no reason to be in this room, so once you leave, that's that. Heli is now healed up, and Gawain escorts her to Tintagel, where she gets this cutscene.
Ho! Is anyone here?
Make yourself known.
It is Gawain of Camelot. I have brought Heli, my injured partner, with me. She is much recovered.
Proof, sir? We can accept no more strangers within these walls.
You remember me, Brother Anthony? I am Gawain, a knight from Camelot.
Brother Anthony is dead. Slain.
Something has happened here. I sense fear. What is wrong, monk?
Just leave, do not enter. It is dangerous here.
Monk, here is Heli. Your kindness and generosity helped save her life. What has happened here?
You may think that we are divorced from the ways of the modern world here. But a knight with no armor?
I am a knight from the court of King Arthur. I have to get to Lyonesse. My orders are to execute Morgana.
Morgana. She was here. She killed Brother Anthony. Murdered a defenseless monk. Enter, knight. We will not stand in your way.
So, knight, you are on your way to execute me. Merlin's little helper. Not man enough to do the job himself. Look at you. Naked in front of me. Not so much as a breastplate to protect yourself with. Know this. I am omnipresent. You cannot see me. You cannot touch me. Did you think for one moment that you you and your pathetic henchmen could ever outwit me? Fool! Merlin's ignorance and your stupidity has cost you and the girl dearly.
Womp womp. Guess she's dead now. Off to the shorelines to continue your quest. After you find the smuggler, you head back up to the monk up top and give him a broken pot that you found laying around the beach, which just so happens to have the exact same thing that he wants. Receive the beer, and the smuggler is happy to row you to Leoness.
Here is your mead, boatman. Drink your fill. But first, get me across to the island.
You took your time. Let's hope this nectar's worth waiting for. I'm parched. That's as far as I go, sir.
He fucks off, leaving you to deal with this gigantic snake on your lonesome. Never fear though, you have the Ring of Protection. Oh, never mind. After a series of nonsensical pixel hunts, you finally make it to one of the arguably decent looking areas of the game, one that wowed me back in my youth to think that this game was anything but shovelware. But to get to this point, you have to give up your ring back to the fairies as payment, so Gawain is once again vulnerable to attack. I just want to point this out. At absolutely no point does the ring that you've spent a third of the game fetching items for do a single goddamn thing. Zilch. Breaking into the castle, you confront Ragnar, Morgana's bodyguard and simp. You're forced to do a battle with a no-good, very bad fight sequence that is delayed until the skeleton knocks you on your ass. In this sequence, and without the game mentioning anything, you actually need more or less to talk your way out of getting gutted by Ragnar prior to being held before Morgana.
And Morgana's protector. Who are you? What do you want here?
I am a knight of Camelot. I demand to be set free.
Morgana has promised me your blood, mortal. I think I will kill you slowly. Before the blood is drained from your body, I will pluck out your heart and devour it before your eyes.
While the dude performing this role does a pretty good job being a jerkface, this guy also has the worst player model befitting his voice. This scene is just bizarre the more you look at it. Is that door made for tiny people? You get tossed into the hole and need to make your way back up. Just need to find a key to open this door. Can you spot it? No? No, it's right here. This should be illegal. Someone needs to be held accountable for this. You arrive at these dickheads once more, who won't allow you to use your sword without doing their bidding, which fortunately is in your mutual best interest. Grab a strand of her hair in this spider web, knock a branch loose off of a petrified tree, and to be confused by cause and effect.
Set in stone for eternity. A violation of nature. Looks like the branch of a tree. Wait, it's made of stone. It must have been petrified. I don't understand. I hit the petrified tree with a rock, and a petrified branch fell off. Why would the petrified branch also be petrified? Coach is going to kill me if I am to be late for practice, bro.
Use this branch to get Morgana's soul and get your sword back. Fight Dickhead in a 1v1, burn his corpse, and Morgana is officially held captive by the fairies.
We have explained things to our queen, Gawain. Leave now, quickly, and we shall keep her here on Lioness with us.
The creature speaks the truth, child. They can keep me here, but I shall never rest.
Sorry.
Look at you, sir. Smith, you're a fine craftsman.
Take care, sir.
In, if I'm being very charitable, a very anticlimactic ending to the game. Controls in Chronicles is pretty standard fare. Click on an area to walk towards it, and Gawain will generally mention something about its interaction. Using an item with a character or hotspot can be finicky though, which usually means having to redo the sequence 2 or 3 times. Most of it is acceptable enough for what it is, a point-and-click game from the 90s. What is not acceptable though is Gawain's walk speed. It's bad, dude. Bear in mind, King's Quest had been out for 12 years at this point. That game had you walking faster, or at least a slider that made things move quicker. This game has none of that. I fail to see any excuse for this offensive level of pacing. But given that there are probably about 30 interactions or so to complete the game, that probably explains why they chose it, just to claim the game can't be beaten in under 2 hours. Every point-and-click game suffers from similar issues from time to time. Hotspots, the in-game relation to what you can interact with, can sometimes be misleading or easy to miss. Other times, as a player, we can just plain miss what is obvious to most people. Inevitably, we are all going to get stuck in these games from time to time just from this issue alone, unless the game features a hotspot indicator, which has the opposite problem, as it just trivializes the gameplay. Having an inventory system will also create bottlenecks of interactivity. Sooner or later, it comes down to using one item in one spot to progress. Sometimes it's just a fucking monkey on a hex nut! I will never, ever forgive you, Sierra. Let it be known. Having these issues is, as I said, inevitable. What needs to carry the game from this point is the story, characters, artwork, ambience, and interactivity to keep you playing long enough to stumble on the solution. However, this game has an issue with the story, characters, artwork, ambience, and interactivity. Other than that, it's okay. It's rare to think of a combination of items to their environment that makes any sense. The hotspots are terrible to locate, and maneuvering around is confusing. Some of these transitions make zero sense, bringing you back to the previous screen when there are no discernible reason for that to happen. The FMVs used to showcase issues, like this dragon here, are so confusing to witness that I end up clicking on them dozens of times to try to process what I'm looking at. Gaining an item allows you to look at it, showing what is supposed to trick you into a fancy 3D model, but is simply a pre-rendered image rotating aggressively on a loop. There are no clues on inspecting the item, so good luck knowing what to do with the straw you found at the stable, provided you clicked on this exact spot. It's bad. Oh, and by the way, you obviously dip it in well water so you can light it on fire. It's not quite as egregious as a certain game where the protagonist says, "Nothing happens," each and every time you try something, but it's close. The singular act of mercy that the devs were able to accomplish is that the cursor will change when you hover over a hotspot. Past all that, the solutions themselves are often so offensively opaque in its design that you think that the game was made as a joke. And that's where the game fails most of all. Even in the most offensive of point-and-click games, you do get a dopamine hit whenever you figure out something, even when it's as trivial as lighting a candle. But this game robs you of just about every single opportunity of these kinds of moments. With almost no redeeming features with the actual game, you were able to at least mute the fantastic musical score of the PS1 version, which is, while an excellent tune, the only song in the entire game. Loading, fighting, dying, title screen, it never stops. It never stops. The PC version has other tracks in the game, but for whatever reason, this game has just one of the renditions by the late composer Ben Danglish. At least he picked a good one, as I've listened to this for much more than I would care to admit. Wait, I just did. The game is tonally all over the place, with decent-looking pre-renders in some of the scenes mixed in with sharp cutouts and FMV jank to always cut out any suspense, surprise, or excitement. Absolutely nothing occurs in this game with any amount of grace, and things that are supposed to be shocking are cut out so quickly that your brain literally isn't allowed to care about it. The biggest offender for the presentation, for me, is the ambient sound effects. They are often 5 times louder than necessary, sound like shit, and are on a very short loop, sometimes less than a half a second long.
Don't mind the stench. You'll be wanting an arse then. Or perhaps your tackle polishing. I've got a nice Bryson bit here.
It's super distracting and makes some of the areas a headache just to navigate. I feel like with the MIDI track on a perfect uninterrupted loop from beginning to end, that the sound mix is fundamentally off and the developers just couldn't handle the hardware they were working with. The highs of this game are so strangely high with its bizarrely effective game over screen, and the performances of some of the uncredited voice actors have given me the occasional fantasy of remastering the game into something noteworthy, transposing these performances into a game that doesn't, for a lack of better verbiage, suck. This performance by the voice of Morgana didn't deserve to die on this hill. The rendered scenes look like they could have been fantastic to explore if the CD space allowed it to happen, and the developers made a game worth playing around these scenes. This is a sad game, one which I feel bad of making fun of it because I'm just disappointed in what could have been. Making games is fucking brutally difficult, even with today's tools. These guys likely worked on shitty 90s computers in a stuffy room somewhere, with impossible deadlines and a confusing workflow. I really wanted this game to be good back in the day, but man, am I glad I didn't even rent this fucker. Even with the newfound graphical prowess of the PS1, this game's pacing and nearly impossible gameplay would have left a much more sour taste in my mouth than I have now. Now the taste is just... disappointment? No. That's depression. And mania! And then are and are on a very short loop. I can't say it. Thank you for watching and subscribing to my shit. I'm reading out all of my public subscribers until I get to 1 billion subscribers. More or less. Cerberus Loyalist. Nito. Some of these names, dude. Joel Setubal. Simon Gunther. Charles Goss. Andrew Harris. The XPC Reaper. Matthias Hemignani. Patrick Byrne. Love that first name. Kaputnik 88. Vestries. Jacob Taylor. Andre Visari. Matthew. Good job. Zach K. Dab. Chili J. Stefan Lopez. I just can't pronounce this name. Let's give it a shot. Yinyaminya Carrier. Philippe Yamal. Deshta. Taylor Avery. Sams. Mangs 856. Phlegonus. Kenzarin. Michael B. Fabrizio Freza. Fenning. And finally, Jahani G. I know it's Johnny G, I just thought it was funny because all these names were really impossible to pronounce today. Despite your unpronounceable names, I very much appreciate you watching and subscribing. And a very special thanks to South Boogie Bio and Joe C for being my Patreons. Your monetary donations will be placed into a visible tip jar in my videos for me to flaunt in front of you what you could have done with this money better. But in seriousness, I do appreciate the gesture and it keeps me motivated. And since I'm wrapping this video up at the end of the year, happy Christmas, New Year's, whatever. If you hate the holidays, I fully support you in that as well. There is no reason you have to enjoy something that you hate.